Recently I received a two-part question. One was, is gesture drawing limited to just the figure? And the other was, what's the purpose of gesture drawing anyway? Well, let's take a look at that. Okay, the answer to the first question is no, gesture drawing is not limited to just the figure. Gesture drawing is a wonderful way of exploring any kind of subject. Now I know and I realize that when you've searched on YouTube for gesture drawing, mostly you've found gesture drawing as it relates to the figure. But as it relates to the figure is a very, very tiny part of the story. What is gesture drawing? And why is it important? Well, first of all, gesture drawing is drawing movement. Every visual image has movement. We don't realize that movement when we're just trying to describe images to ourselves. But when we can look at an image and we can find and describe its movement, then we can draw its movement. And why would we want to do that? Well, that's to keep our drawings and our paintings lively. That's to find in them their inherent life. And so let me explain just briefly what happens when you're doing regular drawing. We have the left hemisphere of our brains, the right hemisphere of our brain. The left hemisphere of our brain wants to label everything. It wants to call things what they are: cat, apple, banana, butterfly. But the right hemisphere of the brain perceives the movement. It perceives the essence. And the right hemisphere of the brain often will get blocked by the left hemisphere of the brain because the left hemisphere is trying to give what we're looking at a label. Now you can see the ramifications of that. Alright, what can we do? We can change that by giving the left hemisphere something to think about. Give the left hemisphere a language that describes what the right hemisphere is perceiving. So how do we do that? Well, I'll show you. Now just taking a very simple shape. Well, let's take just the number 5. We're all familiar with the shape of number 5. We can see it shaped in a number of ways. Now that is a shape. The left hemisphere would want to say 5, and it would want you to know anything else except that that's a 5. The right hemisphere can see the movement in that 5. Well, what can it see? It can see it going back and forth, up and down, curving around. Back and forth, up and down, curving around. And you can see it happens very fast. Now, if it were just the left hemisphere that were trying to do the drawing, tell you it's just a 5, it might have to go something like this, very slowly and very stiff. And then you might have a 5. You can see the difference. This is flat, no life. This has life. So as long as we're giving the left hemisphere the right words to say, give it motion words, give it movement words to say as you're moving along with the image of something, then you will draw the movement. And you will also be able to draw much faster. And your drawings will be more meaningful and you can actually get excited about drawing. Also, it will make it much easier and you'll go much faster setting up your preliminary drawing for any painting you're doing. I've heard people say that they've spent hours on doing the drawing for a painting. That's ridiculous. You really shouldn't have to spend more than about 5 or 10 minutes doing the preliminary drawing for a painting, and you can do that if you get yourself honed with gesture drawing. Let's go through just very briefly here this little image of the barn. How would you approach that when you're giving your left brain the right message? So the message is movement, looking for movement. And so instead of saying barn or shed or whatever your left brain wants you to say, you begin to explore its edges. And so you would start right here, and I'm just going to go right over this because I'm exploring movement. I'm ignoring that there's something here, and so I'm just paying attention to what's happening here. So what would happen? It's moving down, moving up, moving down, moving up. I could do that several times so that I get to feel the movement. It's fast, it's not slow. It turns and moves out, moves back and moves out. It turns and moves up. It's going up, it's falling down. it turns and slants a bit, slants out, slants down. It slants up, slants back, slants up, slants back. From here it slants down, slants back, slants down, slants back, slants down, turns, falls, you can make falls up, falls down, rises up, turns this way, goes that way. As long as you give the left brain a message, the right word to draw the movement of what it's doing, not what is it, but what it's doing, then you're going to draw it very fast. And so then I could move very rapidly. If I just want to do a small drawing, just move very rapidly by allowing myself to feel the movement here without having to do the labeling thing. I can do that after I have practiced giving myself the right language. Then I don't have to worry about getting the drawing just right. I just follow what my eyes are seeing. But when you're doing gesture drawing, you're working the pencil to follow the movement. You label it with movement, not with image. Then you'll find that you can move through all kinds of images, and your drawing will go very fast, and you'll become a much better painter, and you can make more beautiful drawings too. So if you found this quick tip helpful, or if you need, if you have something you'd like for me to do a quick tip of, drop us a message right down here. And don't forget to check out our full-length videos at DianneMize.com. And there's your quick tip.